Hey, what's up, guys? It is January 21st, and although I did not go out and march today, I know plenty of people who did. I also know plenty of people who do not support people who went out and marched today, and don't necessarily support the protests and some of the people that participated poorly in them, mainly the people who turned them into riots. Because I'll get into that a little bit later. But basically, this video is about coming together despite different thoughts. And that's really what we need to be doing instead of fighting all over Facebook. All of us have different views. There's people on both sides, people in the middle. That's always going to be a case, no matter what topic, what you're talking about. And it's really easy to get offended super easily and let people get on your nerves when it comes about politics. And I mean, there's ways you can have productive political conversation that don't degrade into people just hating on each other. And one way to do that a lot of people, when things get out of hand and the argument becomes something that's not worth anything anymore, is when somebody starts calling names, stuff like that. And like when that starts, the argument's going nowhere at that point. Like if they can't give substantial evidence or proof or give something that's gonna lead to new discussion and add that into the conversation, they really have nothing important to say. And at that point, you should either stop arguing or point out, you have nothing more to say, you're just trying to insult me now, let's stop talking. But there are people who you disagree with and can still have a productive conversation with. There's somebody I talked to today. I won't put his name in here. If he wants to, he can comment on the video. He's been watching these, and he doesn't agree with everything I say on here, and he doesn't have to. That's his choice to believe what he wants. That's okay. And we talked about that today, and we had a really long conversation that was really cool. And we found some things that we both think are bad for society. We talked about how at his job there's people running into him, and that people spend too much time and are too self-absorbed in their phones, which is definitely a problem that we face here in the United States. And that's why we have accidents on the highway, because people are texting. That's why we have people are just too self-absorbed. So anyways, you can have good discussions with people. This person now, me and him are gonna be getting on Xbox every once in a while or something maybe, and playing Destiny or Battlefield, because we had a good conversation and we respect each other and respect each other's differences. And it's not the easiest thing to do, disagree with somebody and respect them at the same time. But if you're mature enough, you'll handle it in a way where you won't go out there and lose a bunch of friends because of the way you think. And you shouldn't have to. We're all human, first of all, and we all understand that. You gotta get over the fact that they don't believe something that you do and try and work with them. The reason why we have such a problem in American politics is because of polarization. People taking one side or the other and going to that extreme of the side, or I've heard a statistic, don't quote me on this, but 1/3 of Americans are not registered with either party. So there's people in the middle who agree one way on an issue and agree the other way. You don't have to identify or as a Republican or a Democrat. You don't have to. You don't have to get offended by something somebody posts. You can be like, hey, I understand where you're coming from and why you think these ways. Here's why I think this. Throw some research, some numbers out there. Try and start a conversation. Don't go there to argue with people. That's the number one thing I can tell and stress, is don't go into a conversation trying to argue. You're going into a conversation trying to spark new ways of fixing problems. And a lot of people aren't going into conversations ready to do that. They're going in trying to start a fight, which is the wrong idea. Anyways, back to the protester thing. Not everybody at the riots, the protests that turn to riots, are bad people, obviously. The same name calling I was talking about earlier happens when people are saying, oh, all these people at the riots are snowflakes because they think they're special. That's one of the terms. If you guys have watched John Burke, he calls everybody snowflakes, anyone who's a liberal snowflakes, because he can get away with it because he has media influence. And it's like, why are you calling names and just bashing on people who don't think the same way as you? Like, he's not promoting any real kind of productive talk. Obviously, he has his own side of the issue, but he's part of the problem why we have this polarization, because he takes it to a whole side of an extreme. And there's people who obviously do it on the other side as well. But it's like, why do you need to throw names out there? Why do you need to be offensive on purpose? Like, there's no need for that. We can come together. Like, being unified is what matters. Like, don't go out there trying to start fights, is what I'm trying to say. You can have productive conversation without getting pissed at other people. Got it? Cool. Sounds good. All right, you guys have a good one. Peace.